Hello everybody, welcome to the MaffmanJones movie channel. I'm your host, John MaffmanJones. Today's featured movie is the sequel to Denis Villeneuve's Sicario, Sicario 2, Day of the Soldado, or the Soldier. And the film picks up a little while after the first one leaves off, where we have Benicio del Toro and Josh Brolin reprising their roles as Matt and Alejandro going on a mission to kidnap the daughter of a drug lord in Mexico, and things go awry, of course. If you remember, I praised Sicario. I love that movie. It was in my top 10 of that year, and it's one of Denis Villeneuve's best. And saying that really means nothing because every Denis Villeneuve movie is fantastic. But this one, I went into it expectations a little low because I wasn't really sure what a sequel to a Sicario movie would be. I understand it a little bit because Benicio del Toro's character was beloved when the movie came out, so seeing a sequel and continuing his story makes sense to me, but I wanted to know how. That's where my curiosity came from. Having seen the movie, it's not bad. I enjoyed it. It's also horrifying in some of the things that it depicts, but a lot of things don't quite make that much sense either. Besides some really well executed moments with character, there's no character development whatsoever. The mission that happens kind of ends with one character being affected and the rest just kind of carrying on. Isabel Minar is the character that is affected in this movie, and she was, if you don't remember, or didn't see it, which you shouldn't have, but she was in Transformers The Last Night. She was really good there, despite Michael Bay sexualizing her as like a 12-year-old, which was strange. She shows in this movie that, no pun intended here, she has cojones in her acting chops, and I can't wait to see more from her as an actress, but the character was so-so in this movie. She had the most character development out of everybody. Benicio del Toro's cadence, his nuance, his presence is always nice to see, although his character does not really get much to do from an overall perspective of the actual story. In the third act, something happens to his character that makes absolutely no sense. It took me a while to justify what happens, and even thinking now, it makes little to no sense that what happens. Things that happen to him have happened to people in real life and also carried on without spoiling anything, but in the context of the movie, it seems like a very cheap play, what happens with him. Josh Brolin is really good too, and I always like him. He's in a lot of movies this year, although again, no character development. Sicario 2 doesn't really deliver on a social commentary like the first one does, even though a couple of things do happen that hit really close to home. It just contextually doesn't really resonate as much in comparison to the first movie. We get some enjoyable action sequences too, but again, character motivations, story beats, things that occur in the film don't make a whole lot of sense, and ultimately render the entire movie almost pointless. I wouldn't turn an eye away to watch Sicario 2 again. It just seems like a sequel that didn't need to be made, and it's fine. It's just forgettable in a way. And there's not really much else to say for this movie. Overall, Sicario, Day of the Soldado is a fine sequel. I enjoy being in this world, as dire and dark as it could be, but I wish we got more from the characters within. There's a lot of potential with Alejandro's character. It's just they do nothing with him that's interesting, or any of the characters really, besides Isabella Minar, because she's in a really horrible situation given her age. But I didn't really care for what they were trying to do, and I don't really know what they were trying to say, besides the idea of children who are thrusted into the drug cartel war. By choice or not by choice. Really not by choice, which makes things a lot more tragic. But besides that, this is probably the weakest entry from Taylor Sheridan in terms of writing goes. But it's also not a bad movie either. It's just pointless. If you liked the first Sicario, you should watch this one just to see how you feel about it. If you didn't like the first one though, I don't see a reason to go to this one. Honestly, it's very inconsequential in comparison to the first movie. And if they make a third one, I don't know how you continue this franchise, which is now a franchise, which is crazy to say for Sicario. There was no point in this one, so what do you do for another one? You know what I mean? There are some well-done sequences and a lot of good cinematography, but the lack of character development or characters in general, along with a story that really doesn't really go anywhere or add up to anything, makes the movie a shoulder shrug. The storytelling and the directing from A to Z is a decent effort, however, so I can't say outright, in my opinion, that it's a bad movie. So I'm going to give Sicario, Day of the Soldado, 2.5 out of 5 stars. It's a Sam Worthington Applebee's meal. But now I want to know from all you boys and girls, what do you think of Sicario 2? Let me know in the comments down below. Do you feel differently about this? Do you prefer this over the original, or is Denis Villeneuve's movie a favorite like it was for mine for you too. If you enjoyed my review, please like, subscribe, ring that bell, check out my social medias, my Stardust, and everything else down below. As always, I'm John Maffio, aka MaffmanJones. Check out some other reviews right there, and I'll see you guys next time. Deuces.